They get very afraid.
Okay. They can see us. Can they hear us? Oh, shish kebabs.
We can't see you.
They couldn't see her.
Can they hear us? No.
Test, test.
What microphone is I think it's using?
You say because there was the microphone attached up there. We could see the sound bars.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear us? I don't know. My little green dots aren't going. Oh, Athena, can you hear us? Oh, they say they can hear us.
Oh, you can hear us.
Okay. What's weird is my camera doesn't have my little green dots, so I have no idea. For a while, I couldn't see you. You couldn't see us.
Over so they can't see you at all. It doesn't look like.
Hi.
You only moved your computer here. Get up next to me so they can see you. Okay, good. That's better.
I don't know. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Sorry.
We're all in here.
We were having technical difficulties. And of course, we're just sitting here going, wow, good luck. And Brianna's trying really hard. So at first, we were pretty sure you couldn't see us at all.
Yeah.
And then couldn't hear us. But life is good now, huh?
Looks like it. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome. So, of course, this is our monthly book club. And we are reviewing Addie, LaRue today. And if you're new here, I can't imagine how you found us if you're new, but if you are, we're the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington. We have a brick and mortar store. We have an online presence. We do a lot of YouTube stuff. And we started the book club back in, was it like April? Because we were constantly talking about what we were reading and recommendations, and we were sharing recommendations. And we thought, gosh, let's just do it as a group. And I think we've got about 500 people in our book club,
That's
which
cool.
is, I think, pretty good. So we don't always agree, but
okay.
I still love it
Yeah.
because I think the hardest thing for me is trying to decide what should I read next. And so I love it that I read fast enough that as you guys are recommending them, like for next month, I've read all 4. I have to kind of go back and reread, so that I'm ready for book club, because Addie, LaRue, it was a while ago. How long ago did I read that one?
A while.
Is it, if you haven't.
Well, it was recommended last month, wasn't it? And
then
you chose another one, and so then you chose it for this one.
Right. It was recommended, and it was like one vote away from being chosen. And then we just sort of made it happen. But because I think it's such an unusual book. So that's what we're going to talk about. I have a couple people I've printed off all of their information, but looks like everybody's kind of in and has joined us. Everybody said hello, hello.
Yes.
All right, great. So let's, and then notice that Tracy could not get into the book. She said she started it like 3 different times. And it is true that the first probably third of the book is depressing.
Yeah. I've made it out of the depressing part.
Oh, good.
And we have been introduced to Henry and what's going on there, but I have not finished it. So I'm okay
you
for the
realize
spoilers.
There's going to be spoilers.
Yeah, well, I had to find spoilers to get what questions to do because I couldn't get a hold of Mom. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to spoil it for myself. So I kind of already know. But I still want to finish reading it. But a lot of you guys know that Robert was gone last week hunting. He's all home. Everything's great. The kids are super excited. But I found that it was hard to listen while I was home alone. Because I didn't have extra ears. And if the dog barks, like, what are you guys barking at? So I felt like I needed to be home and not in my book. So I did not get the amount of reading done that I wanted to. So.
And I think that there are some books that you really have to pay attention. And this was one of those. Sometimes it's nice when you can listen instead of sit and read, but you still require almost that same amount of concentration. So, but what's really nice is Brittany did read it.
Yes.
So Tracy has a stand-in. And,
I read them all. I just
Yeah.
forget to put a timer on my
Oh,
phone, and it's like,
yeah.
well,
To come
crap,
and
it's
hang out.
11:15, so I
Missed
guess I
that.
missed that.
you just need to, because you listen while you're quilting.
Mhm.
Do you ever, so I have to ask, do you ever have to stop quilting and go, what?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Or I'm like sewing, I'm like, wait. And Alexa's like, what are you doing?
My
Staring off
question
into space,
is-
leave me alone.
My question is, are you sewing, listening, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, great. I've left this great big spot untouched.
Quilting, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
That just,
Rhythm.
I'm famous for that. Leaving a spot that's totally, I missed it.
yeah. Well,
Totally.
I just thought.
Even without listening to books, you can do
Yeah,
that.
All right. And then of course, so it's, and of course, Marge has read every book also and has recommended quite a few of them. So it's very good.
Yes.
So let's just get right into it. So our first question was to, what was your rating for the book and would you recommend it? So we'll have you guys put in what was your rating for The Secret Lives of Addie LaRue
Mhm.
and would you recommend it? And so let's go around. So far, are you happy?
So far, I'm at like a 2. But
Wow.
again, I have just barely made it past the 3rd.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at.
That
I'm
makes
past
sense to
the,
me.
and I have to
well,
say,
if you're up to Henry, that's halfway through.
is it?
isn't
Well, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that it's finally getting better because I am over
Yeah.
the depressing life of Addie
Super
LaRue.
depressing.
Keep this ball rolling.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
No, I guess
I don't like
Henry
a
is
2.
before half. Yeah, Henry is before half. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I would say it's sort of a funny thing, and a couple of people we've chatted about the book, and everybody's asked me the same thing. It's like, did you really give it a 5? And I'll tell you what, the ending, the way that last, I don't know if it was a chapter, I don't remember now if it was like the last half a chapter, that was what made it a 5 for me. I mean, I thought it was a good book. I thought it was interesting. There was a lot of depressing parts, but I found it to be very, I sort of liked the historical reference of it. But anyway, the way that it ended, I thought was brilliant because I was
Good.
worried about how it was going to end.
Yeah.
And so that for me is like clinker. That was a good, then when you finish a book and you go, that was a good book. That
yeah.
was how it ended for me.
Okay.
And then Michelle Murray, she gave it a 4, and she said the same thing that first third. Man, once you stick with it and you make it past that part, she said it got really good, and she gave it a 4. Elizabeth Schmidbauer, she said definitely a 5. Fantastic
Good.
book. Really, really liked it.
Definitely a 5.
Definitely.
I made Jordan sit through about an hour of me explaining this book to
I
him.
know it takes about an hour.
So if it was worth, and I've recommended it to several people, and he
Yeah.
doesn't like to listen to me talk about books because
Yeah.
I read so many. So I really have to pick and choose. And this is one that I picked. It's like,
Yeah.
you have to listen to me.
Because it's so unusual.
Yes.
It was just so
So
unusual. The
unusual.
whole story, the way she
Mhm.
wrote it, the whole thing was just
And
so
that ending
unique.
was just
The
perfect.
part.
Yes.
Perfect ending. What do you think,
Mm.
Marge? It's okay if you disagree.
No, I disagree. When I shut the book, I thought that was about 10 hours wasted,
Oh.
or however took it to me to read it.
17. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how long it was.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get it. I
Sure.
really didn't get it. And I thought, what was the purpose of going back 300 years? Why 300 years? And I understand her problem of trying to survive, in a world where nobody recognized. I could, if you parallel that with somebody human that is having issues, nobody, sees them. Of course, Henry was kind of the same way. Okay, but I just didn't get it. I don't know. I just
And
didn't
I
think
feel
it was
like
that special.
That's where the votes are here. There's 3.5 to a high 4, or no.
No, not at all.
There, yeah.
I
And
mean,
I
I
agree.
don't think it was poorly written. I
Mhm.
mean, I could jump back and forth in time and place.
Mhm.
And sometimes, though, I did get confused because she would, in the present, she would jump back and forth. And that kind of lost me sometimes, especially towards the end, because we were, the dates, were in there. But then all of a sudden, like, we were behind what you were just talking about now here.
Yeah.
So that was kind of confusing. I give it a 3.
A 3.
Because I didn't think it was poorly written. And if you're into this, whatever this genre is,
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
It's okay. Frankly, no, I wouldn't recommend it, but that's because I didn't care for it.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that somebody else would. So,
Yeah, and
sorry.
Rose said Henry was what made it interesting.
Yes.
I totally
if there
agree.
was probably no Henry,
Yeah, I
Totally
would have given up on it by that.
Totally
If
agree.
Henry hadn't have walked in,
100%.
it was like I would have quit. I really would have quit.
Totally agree.
CJ said she really enjoyed the historic aspects of
Yeah.
the book, but that was about all she liked. So it was hard too.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with that, except that I think that that whole story of, making a deal with the devil,
Mhm.
a lot of people have tried to write stories and movies that have been made about it. And it's
Yeah.
not always good.
No.
It's
Yeah.
very dark. And not
Mhm.
that this wasn't dark. I mean, this was very depressing, but I think to really, I think it was an interesting way to tell that story, and that what she got was so weird, so she got life, but so what? And the other thing that I kept thinking was weird was, when are you just going to give up? When are you
Right.
just going to say, I've had
Dude,
it?
me too. That's why I was like,
I'm
can we
done.
just...
And that was the thing that kind of kept me going, is
What it-
300 years of this. Why not just, what is the point of any of it?
Yeah.
And so that was part of it. And that's why when she did meet Henry, it got really interesting. And that's what had me worried for, how is this going to end?
Yeah, where is this going?
How is this going to end?
Yeah.
So I just thought it was so unique. And I think about this a lot, that as I read a book that I would never have picked, I would read the back of this book and I would never pick it up for many reasons. I'm not a fan of the time traveling thing too much. I'm not a fan of the, anything that has kind of a little bit of a demonic flair to it, and knowing more about Luke. I'm not so sure that I'm a fan of that, but it turned out to be so interesting, I think. And I think CJ's right, the historical fiction part of it, and understanding some of those things.
Sure.
And I felt like I could really picture, I don't know why she kept going back. Why did she keep going back to France and back to the house?
There was
But
nothing there.
There
And
wasn't
no one
anything there.
remembered her.
Yes, but
Like,
she
move on.
she had, what else was she going to
Was
do?
that the only place she had, I guess the only place she had connection to?
Yeah.
Because as you
Uh-huh.
get through the years, no one knows who you
Yeah,
are.
nobody knows
Yeah.
who you are.
But I don't know.
I think it was just interest. To me, you think about the way that what you would do. Oftentimes you think that right in a book. It's like, well, would you do that? Would you go in the door? Would you go? Don't go outside.
I don't know. I feel like
I
all
wouldn't
of
have
this-
done anything she did.
No, I feel like I'd follow the family. If the family didn't know who I was, I could be like their stalker and live vicariously through this family. It's like, you are depressing. Let's do happy things. Let's not. Oh, he doesn't remember me. Oh,
Well, you got to think about it. She, when she made this deal, he didn't promise. All she was promised was that she was going to live
Right.
the way
forever.
she wanted to. Yeah.
Well,
Free.
no, not
Free.
the way she
Free.
wanted to. She
Free.
was going to
Free.
be free. Well, she didn't realize being free meant
Right.
you have to find food.
Yeah.
That costs money. What are you going to do for clothing? What are you going to do for shelter? She didn't think of, well, she wasn't, she was desperate, but I don't know. You were talking about explaining this book to Jordan. I was trying to explain this book.
I don't know how you can.
And I couldn't explain it because I didn't, I was explaining it like mad, and he kept on saying, why are you reading this book?
Why are you reading this book?
Yeah.
The other
so-
thing, I just want to say one last thing about that whole what would you do and how would you do it too. I think it might be kind of fun a little bit if you could walk into a store, walk back out, and then have a redo. It's like, okay, they're not going to remember me. I can do it again.
Mhm.
And I can do it again.
Mhm.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Not for
I
300
would
years.
kind of like that. No. And also, I
20 minutes.
wouldn't like it though that I didn't have a place.
Right.
That
She
was the
didn't like-
most upsetting thing to me.
Well,
I
it was
didn't
to
have a
her
home.
too.
Yeah.
Was
You
no home
couldn't-
because when she had the
Yeah.
house, when
Mhm.
he bought her the house and gave her that key,
Yeah.
that was probably the only time she
Yeah.
she was happy with Henry. But you see, that was when I started getting mixed up in time. Was this going on the same? Well, no, they were in New Orleans, so I guess it wasn't the same
Yeah, I
time
agree.
as Henry.
Not having a place to be is
Mhm.
A
just
spot
as
for
hard as
your
not having a
things, for your
connection.
But
Mhm.
you notice though that when she did steal food or get some clothes, she only got one thing. She
Right.
didn't
That's
go
true.
back, and she didn't go
There's
back.
no place to put it.
Well, there's
Yeah.
no place to put it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it had its interesting concepts.
Mhm.
I just didn't get it. I just didn't get it.
And that kind of takes us to question number 2, and that was, how did you feel about the? Because it was weird. I mean, sometimes there is a historical fiction book.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is a fantasy book. Sometimes there is a time travel book. This was all
All
three
of
of
those
those
together.
things. And
Yeah.
I would agree, and that was what everybody else said too, is that it was confusing.
Mhm.
You oftentimes, it's like, wait, what are you talking about now? And I went back, it'll tell you how long it took you to read this book. It took me like 23 hours. I don't know what the number was, but it was an incredible amount, because it's like, wait
What I
a minute.
missed. Yeah.
Where are you now? And I'd have to go back and then catch, oh yeah, that's what was happening. Because that's the other problem with an audiobook, is that you don't have that, you
can't thumb
can't
through the
read,
pages.
oh, we're in 1776 France. Okay, gotcha.
Oh, they didn't announce
Well,
that.
they did, but if
Oh, really?
That was
You paid
12
attention.
minutes.
if you were crunching on something
Yeah.
at that moment, you
Okay.
missed it. So yeah, so that was, and that's what a lot of people said, is that so Michelle, same thing, said, yeah, she really liked the time travel-y part of it, but she felt that it for her, it was interrupting part of a story that was very interesting. She really wanted to, it's like, wait, and now you're
Mhm.
thinking about something else or whatever. So
Yeah.
she didn't like that so much. And then Elizabeth Schmidbauer, same thing. She said, not really a fan of the time travel, but she said for this particular book, she felt that it worked, and she kind of liked it.
Yeah, Darlene said she enjoyed the time traveling because it brought realism to who she became and why over the long time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's hard if you're telling a story that spans 300 years. I mean, I can remember a book that I recently read that I really liked, and it was just 2 generations.
Mhm.
And even that's a lot to pack in. And
Mhm.
300 years,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know.
Well, and she made some remark at the end. I don't know who she was talking to. I don't know if she was talking to Luke or if she was talking to Henry. I remember everything. I remember every place I've been, everything I've done.
Wow.
She
I don't
made,
remember that.
I thought
Yeah.
she made that remark.
Yeah, she
Didn't she
did.
make that
Mhm.
remark? I thought so. And I thought, of course, she lived 100 years in Paris. I don't
Yeah.
know, something like that. So, but just think of what she talks about when she decides to leave, how things have changed. While she doesn't, well, of course, Paris was under a revolution, but why she decides to leave, and she educates herself too. That was something interesting. She learned
Yes,
to
all those
read. She learned to
languages.
read all those languages and things like that. So it's just
Interesting.
so good.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
the time traveling is also going to build her character traits.
Correct.
Where you're not going to have a relationship. So it's not how she's treating her partner. It's how she handles herself in these sticky
Mhm.
situations. So
It
I get where you
added a
have
lot.
to build character somehow.
To her character development, and
Mhm.
from her being distraught and I don't know what to do to what, screw you, now it's a point, I'm not going to give up,
Yeah.
and battle her way through it.
Determination. Yeah.
Yeah.
And think about all of the things that you would see,
Oh, yeah.
in that particular 300 years, in terms of,
Yeah.
war and
A lot.
Mhm.
yeah. And advances. All right. Okay. And then the third question was, what did you think about the description of Lucifer? And now I was saying Luke, but do they say Luke or do they say loose? You were saying loose. Do they
I
say
don't
loose?
remember. I don't know.
I think it's Luke.
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 I
Yeah.
think it's Luke.
Luke, short for Lucifer. And because I think the question was, who did you really think that he was? I mean, I felt like at first it was pretty clear that he was the devil. And then as it continued, he truly was the devil, not
Mhm.
just, one of the devil's bad guys, or whatever. And I always think it's interesting, somebody else's description of, what do you think he would be like? And what do you think, the characters would be, and the idea that he could look like anything and
Yeah.
be anything and be anywhere, it kind of makes some sense to me. And for the people that wrote in, they said the same thing, that they liked the description, they liked the author's, rendition of Lucifer, but yet you kind of don't want to know too much about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't the most interesting character, but they seem to like it. What did you think? Now, you haven't seen much of him yet.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I've only seen him come in a couple times every year. It says, "Hey, are you ready?" And that's kind of all I got of him.
Yeah.
You're going to
Yeah.
see a lot of
Comes
you
into
see
play.
a lot more of him in the last part.
So I
of
don't
the-
have
I-
a whole lot.
I liked it. I mean, I agree. I wanted to know a little bit more, and I agree with the way that she wrote it and how she described him. That he does change
Yeah.
for the person,
Yeah.
and even the smell of him and like all of these things. It's like it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
And the ability to control
yes,
what was going on every
Yes.
time he appeared.
I mean, if I had to imagine the devil, I mean,
Yeah.
it all made sense to
Yeah.
me. It was very believable.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think so too.
It made it so scary. Well, like Beethoven, when he
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
You're not at that part yet.
No.
All these people that made a deal with the devil.
Ah.
And then it's like, oh,
Well, he's so-
I thought that was so
Well, I
fascinating.
mean, the devil is the devil, but you can see how cruel and
Mhm.
heartless
Yeah.
the devil really is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't romanticize it at
No,
all,
no.
but it was interesting again, her take on,
Mhm.
who all might have made a deal with the devil. I thought that was really
Mhm.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Several people. What everybody else think.
Kind of the same thing. Darlene also had that thought of the old saying of "be careful what you wish for."
Yeah.
Having
Yes.
her devil look like what she wanted in life, and then
Right.
she finds Henry. So one of those things that you never know who.
Yeah.
Just because you think you want that doesn't mean that's what you want.
Right.
Mhm.
Scrappy Quilter says since she believes in the devil, she felt like it was indeed the deceiving fallen angel that he truly is.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Each person's going to see their own Luke. Yep,
Mhm.
totally. Mary's interested. If this was ever a movie, who would you want to play?
Oh.
That's a
You
good
know, funny you should
question.
say that because I have
Who are you picturing?
Matthew McConaughey.
Really?
Yes.
I'll tell you why too.
Yes.
There is a movie that's coming out, or maybe it's like even already on Netflix or something. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
There's one, and he, I saw like the slightest little commercial of it, and
Uh-huh.
he, just gorgeous and looked great. And something had happened with some little interaction, and he says, "And stop breathing." And then he goes to the next person, but he's like, in charge of this room. And I thought, oh, so anyway, that's who I have pictured.
I want somebody with
McConaughey.
green eyes and dark hair.
Sure. Yes.
Tall, dark, and
Yes.
handsome. That's
Yeah,
who Margie
but-
wants.
yeah.
Well, that's the way she described,
Yeah.
that's how she described
Yeah,
her fantasy man, and that's
Yeah.
what he ends up looking like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Good
also
question.
interesting. It's funny that religion and back in the 1600s, and I don't know now. I think a lot of it is I think it's extremely different, but back then that whole idea of all of these offerings to these gods,
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that and what she was doing and that whole idea of you are just playing with bad
That's
stuff.
exactly what I thought.
Anyway,
That's a bad
what
juju, girl.
are you doing?
Yeah.
Do not be even messing around with that stuff. And so I thought it was, not strange that was what ended up with her. But anyway, all right. And then question number 4 is what did you guys think about the relationship between Addie and Luke? Because it was kind of funny because hating him, and then did she really hate him, or in the end, or did they have kind of a better relationship, or what? And now you have to pass on that.
I don't have a.
Michelle says, I didn't write hers down. She thought that, wait a minute, did I have the right question?
Michelle's hanging out with us. Michelle, tell us what you thought.
Michelle,
Mom didn't get
what
it down.
did I feel like I missed that
She's
one.
hanging
I
out
didn't
with
write
us
that
today.
down. Okay, good. Yeah, tell us what you think, because I think that I think it's kind of weird, because I think that after a while it wasn't so much hate or contempt. I think she had figured out how she was going to best him early on. Not early on, but
No, it was
you know,
later,
before the end of the, what would you say, about year 250? I think she was kind of, I guess, I don't know.
No, I
she
think
was
it took
thinking
longer
about
than
it.
that.
It
In
was
fact,
after Henry.
Yeah, it was after
Mhm.
Henry that she
But she-
finally decided, or she said, "Yeah, I don't know if the hate was still always. I don't know, because
Yeah, because Allison says that she said, I don't think Addie ever stopped hating him. She was determined to persevere. I don't think
Mhm.
Luke has the ability to care, and it was all a game to him and me.
Totally agree.
yeah,
Luke did not love her at all.
no,
He was just absolutely, it was all
Sharon
manipulating.
added that she thinks he did admire her for taking him on, being
Correct.
able to say, you know what, bring it, let's go.
Yeah,
There was
I
that
got plenty of
generation.
time.
I agree with that, but I think
Mhm.
not capable of love.
No.
Right.
Oh no, huh?
And I don't think she was capable of loving him either.
No.
Because of
No.
that relationship and how much he had hurt her.
Mhm.
Right.
But it was interesting to see that the admiration come through for Luke for her, and then
Mhm.
it was more like disdain. Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
maybe I don't like hate you, but I'm certainly not going to be your friend, and I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah. I think it was weird that he visited her less and less. I mean, years and years would pass later on. And I think because he couldn't manipulate her.
Mhm.
Right.
It wasn't
And
fun
he
at that
couldn't
point.
mess with her,
I was
early on.
thinking he showed up more often towards the last than he did. It was every
I
100
think
years,
after
wasn't it?
Henry.
It was every
Oh,
year.
no, for a while. It was every year for a while.
Okay.
It was every year. Or he would just show up just to mess with her.
Well, yeah,
But then
Uh-huh.
for a while it was, he missed it.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was that point where he had given her the ring back,
Yeah.
and only when she called for him would he
Right.
come back, because at that point they had gotten into the fight and we're done.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna.
Right. Okay. Question number 5 was, did you see the plot twist coming about Henry's deal? So
Yeah.
that's the deal is Henry. Did you guess it? Can
not
you
even
guess
there
what's
yet.
going on with Henry? She's
Mhm.
met Henry, and Henry recognized her.
Right, I got that. All I've gotten to was the bookstore thing. So the last part I listened to was she was bringing back this book.
Oh, and he says
And he's like, dude, I know who you are. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You
Okay,
saw
so
does
that.
that's yeah.
Do you think anything about that? Henry also made a deal with the devil.
And I knew that before going into this book.
Oh, you did.
So I knew but I did not.
I guessed it.
I figured there would have been a
that
reason.
there
If
had to be,
he's
because
connected somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he had to have made a deal. So I wasn't surprised by that. Michelle was surprised by that.
Yeah,
Elizabeth said, yeah, she figured that out before.
Yeah,
Were
I-
you surprised?
Mhm.
Oh,
I don't know, surprised, but
think
it
was
kind of
going on
made
then?
sense.
Oh.
Well, see, that's what I thought. So what's the deal with Henry here now that, why does he recognize? See, I guess I'm not very
Yeah, Elaine was a
imaginative.
little suspicious that he remembered her. What do you mean remember? And then she.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I just didn't, that never occurred to me that
Yeah.
she had made, I just thought it was odd. I thought, okay, what's coming? Because he recognizes her.
Mhm.
I thought of that, but I didn't
Mhm.
think that it was because he'd made a deal with the devil.
Did you guess it?
I guessed it.
And it's a half and half. Scrappy
and half.
all said didn't figure that out.
Mhm.
I just thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Didn't at first, and then eventually caught on.
You could think almost that it could have been something else, but since the whole storyline is about making a deal with the devil, that's why for me it made
Yeah.
sense.
I don't know.
that
I
that's
just
what it
figured,
was.
okay, I kept on reading at that point because I thought, okay, where's this going? Because why does he remember her and still nobody else still knows her and nobody else does?
Mhm.
But it didn't occur to me about the fact that he might have made a deal with the devil.
And
I
I-
just thought, where is this story going?
And I really liked him. I
Mhm.
liked Henry so much. I just, a kid that just seemed to, you'll like him.
Did you
Mhm.
guess the plot twist where the devil knew what he was doing? So that the deal with Henry would make it to where Addie could find somebody. Did you see that coming? That he knew, like he designed it that way?
I didn't guess that I did think the whole time that you're not going to get one off on him.
Right.
That he always knows what's happening.
Yeah. There's no way that
So-
he overlooked the
Right.
fact that this one
Yeah,
deal.
because she stepped up and say,
with-
well, he doesn't know it, that whenever he was going to show up, she made Henry wasn't around. I thought, he knows everything that's
He does.
going on.
Right. He absolutely
He's
does.
everywhere
Right.
all the time.
Right.
How does he not know?
Yeah.
Right.
This
Uh-huh.
isn't,
Right.
yeah.
I was
I
surprised that she didn't think that she thought that she was hiding something.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we wanted to know of the two curses, which was worse, and everybody so far, at least that wrote in, and I agree, thought that Addie's was
Addie's was worse.
I
horrifying.
would, yeah. I'd hate to be able not to connect with somebody, have my own place, and
Yeah.
it was just one person would be better than nobody.
You agree.
So, okay, I have a question. Now that I think about this, because see, the part where I guess I missed it when I read it the first time was that his deal was for 1 year.
Yes.
So do you think that he maneuvered them to meet when they did so that at the end, that they were so happy together and then he had to tell her, well, I've only got, what was it, 4 more days to live or something
Yeah.
like that? That's
Maybe.
kind of mean,
Maybe. Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 Well, I mean, he was vindictive the whole time.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
the whole point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's trying to get her to.
Right.
But she doesn't see that at all.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Darlene said they both were not seen in different ways. But I think that Henry had it worse, not being appreciated for being yourself. While Addie was attractive to everyone, she had Groundhog Days every day.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She could have
That's
a great day, just one day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
That makes sense. Well, I think it I just think it was just so such an interesting storyline
Mhm.
and written so weird, and I think that a lot of, I think we've talked about this before, that they say that everybody has one best-selling novel in them,
Mhm.
and I think that's probably true, but I think for a lot of us, our stories would be similar. What would you write about? Because you're supposed to write about something, and so to take a story like that
It makes you
spans-
want to see her storyboard.
I
How
know.
does this work? How many colors
know.
of string did we
I
have?
know. And when did you decide to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But and again, just to talk a little bit about the ending, for me, I mean, I was super invested, and I was really nervous about Henry, super, super nervous about that. And then also I felt that it was going to have to come to some conclusion, and the conclusion would be, when was she finally going to give up and die? So again, the way that it ended was, for me, I just think brilliant.
Yeah.
I loved the ending of it, and it made it worth all of the depressing bits in there.
Yeah.
All of the other losses.
Yeah.
It made it worth it to me.
Sharon says, if I could live 300 years, I'd take Addie's curse. I've got too many sewing projects to do. She'd be at the quilt shop every day.
That's right. That's right.
And then nobody would remember you, so nobody would judge you for the amount of fabric you're buying.
That's
There
right.
you go. It doesn't matter.
Well, you'd have to have a place to leave your sewing machine, though.
Did we go to the quilt shop? Hey, can I borrow a sewing machine today?
Yeah.
Of course, we let someone for one day. I mean, if you come in, every day for a week, honey, want me to sell you one? You have pretty good odds.
Uh-huh.
So I know that next month we're doing The Great Alone, but
Yes.
for those of you guys that read all of the stuff that's on our little recommended list, the other one was The Lost Apothecary, and Tracy had read that one when it was recommended. Said, "Oh, very, very good." It is. Has anybody else here read it yet?
No, I was going
It
to.
is.
Yeah.
It is very, very good. But I'm just going to say a little similar. It's not time travel, but the era and some of the
It goes from past to present, back and forth.
there is a past thing that happened, and then there's a future one, and it's a way to kind of bring the whole thing together. But anyway, I just want to say that for me, I think I read The Lost Apothecary. I think I read it right after this book, and I thought, oh my gosh, these books are so similar. Just similar ideas. But
Which one did you say was hilarious?
Oh my gosh, the Unhoneymooners. So funny.
Oh, I'm going to read that
So funny. And I'm going to tell you, it is basically a Hallmark movie in print, but unique. I mean, there was some fun things. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened there? And then there was one little part of it that was a little, I can't even remember now, but there was one little part of it that was either like super sad or a little intense when they were fighting. But anyway, it
overall good experience.
Oh my gosh. Super
Allison
funny.
says she has read all 4 books that were recommended, and they are all great.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, Unhoneymoon is fantastic. Codename Helene. Codename.
Oh, the Codename one. Yeah, I couldn't make up my mind about which. I have already had The Great Alone.
Very good. Did you like Diamond Eye?
Diamond Eye.
The sharpshooter from World War II.
Oh, one of hers?
Yeah.
No, I haven't read that one.
It reminded me a little bit, same flavor as that. And the Lost Apothecary, same flavor kind of as this. Great Alone, typical, fantastic.
Yeah, Kristen Hanna.
Fantastic. Hard to read though. There's some triggers in there a little bit. Abusive and some scary parts, but anyway, really good. So, all right, very good. I feel like we're, I can't tell what time it is because I have my glasses on. How long have we talked?
It's 11:40.
40 minutes.
45 minutes. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
All right. What other things are, and we have quite a few. I love it that you guys keep nominating. I got 2 more this morning. It's like, I just keep putting them off and kind of where we're at. So keep letting us know. I've read in the last 2 weeks 2 terrible books. Terrible. But, you hang in there. I think I told you guys about one of them.
Yeah, she just can't help it.
I know. It's the people, every once in a while you just want to listen to one of those like 7-hour thriller, murder mystery. I don't know why I like that genre so much. I think some of it is because the historical fiction stuff can get pretty heavy.
It can.
And it's real, and the murder mystery stuff is like, there isn't. But anyway, I
told you not to go in that closet.
I know. And so, but anyway, so that's the, but so I really like it because none of those books are books that you guys recommended. They were some that I went off on my own, on a whim, and
well, I read an awful book too, so.
Was it the same thing? Is it just something that, because I think when we end up, choosing the same things that we always choose. Yeah. Is that what happened?
Well, no, this was a book, my other book club, and it was a book that, number one, well, I didn't realize this until, I knew it to begin with, but it is part of a series. And it was the first book, originally written in Italian, and the very first chapter in the book is these 2 childhood friends. They're adults, and the son calls the other woman and says, "My mother is missing. Where is she? Is she with you?" Well, they hadn't seen each other for years. So I thought, I'm going to read this whole book to find out what happened to, there was Lila and Lena. And so the whole book was a story of them 2 growing up in a poor Italian Naples neighborhood, and it ends when, the one gets married at 16 years old, and the other one has decided that this world is way too small for me. She was educated and things like that. That's not in it.
We never know what happened to Mom.
We still don't know what happened.
If I lost in translation.
Yeah, it was like, I'm not going to read 3 more of these books because I didn't like this one. So anyway,
funny.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else read anything really good?
Athena recommended a book. She just finished reading Dust Child, which was pretty good. A historical fiction about the children of Vietnamese women after the war.
Oh.
That sounds kind of heavy.
It probably will be. I mean, it's historical, but
I know historical fiction is always heavy.
Yeah.
Always.
But it's also a different take on it. I mean, we know how all the war went and all of that, but it's kind of the aftermath.
Right.
Yeah.
How
you
life
don't
went
know.
on.
Yeah, how
You don't
life
know.
goes on.
It might be in their history books, but not in ours.
Yeah. I would say that for me, I love historical fiction books, but it has to be one out of every like 4 or 5.
It's true.
Mhm.
Because then it's like, oh, I need a cleanse because I get depressed.
Yeah.
You know, I get worried.
I
And
cry
yeah,
to the
you
book.
cry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jordan comes in. Why are you crying? Leave me alone. I'm reading my book.
Right.
Right.
I
The
started
thriller
reading
ones, the thriller murder mystery, and someone always dies. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, I've just started reading the Terminal List, which I think is about the new Jack Reacher. You know,
Oh,
I
sure,
think
sure.
he's supposed to have been a Navy SEAL or something, or for that.
Yeah.
But I've said that. Okay, that I can read. Yeah.
Yeah. Just those
Before I
fast
start
ones
the
that we go
Great
back
Alone.
to. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Great Alone is good though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sure. I
feel
have
like
no
I can
doubt.
picture
It was
all
really
of those.
good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so
super good. Super good.
That's another one that Jordan had to listen
Yeah.
to my rant about it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And at the end, he's like, "You realize I'm never gonna read it."
But then I'll tell you the spoiler.
Yeah,
right.
Sit back down.
Yeah.
Robert's been asking about, audiobooks and why I like them and how he kind of thinks he wants to try one. Maybe Grade Loan would be one he would like.
Does
I
Robert
think
listen to podcasts?
No,
Oh,
I swear that he wants to do it.
I don't know.
Maybe he wants to be able to book review with me. I don't know. It's like, because he does, he listens to the radio, but he doesn't have like a podcast that he likes to listen to. He doesn't really
Okay.
like true crime because he has kids and it really could happen. And,
Oh,
all these weird things like, yeah, but come on.
So what
So-
books is he going to choose?
I don't know, but I'm thinking maybe the Great Alone, something that's visually appetizing and then
Try
something.
like the
wilderness.
honeymooners one.
It's
I
funny.
think a guy.
Maybe.
It's hilarious. I
Yeah.
think he would like.
I need to
And
read that
fast.
book. I need something to
And it's a
laugh.
fast
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a fast one. I think a guy would like that.
Yeah. So.
All right. Okay. Any last minute
No.
comments before we? If I had my glasses on to see who all was joining us, I apologize if I didn't say hello. But hello. I'm squinting as I have no idea. All right. Well, I really do enjoy reading with friends.
Yeah,
and
it's
talking
fun.
about it with friends and
fun.
reading at the same time. And Lori, I don't know if she is on there or not, but Lori
not sure this
texted
morning.
that she finished. What was the one that I was ranting and raving about the other day?
She comes in with a new book every day.
Not
you should-
every day.
Maybe every other. Okay, maybe that's right. You should read this one.
all the colors of the dark.
Oh, yes. All the colors.
She said she finished it, so I'm ready to call her and talk about it. But I like it. I think my favorite part about book club is that you guys tell us what to read.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
they're books that I would never ever pick up.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm going to
And I
trust the
think
process.
that's what Darlene was saying too, is she enjoys book club because
Yeah.
this book in particular, she said, I would not have picked it up.
I would have never
I
picked it
enjoyed
up.
it, but I would never have picked it up.
Yeah. I liked it.
And tomorrow, the next newsletter is supposed to go out and to pick our next book. So we're reading The Great Alone, and then we'll have 4 more to choose from for our next read. So
Yes. And some of them may have been ones I've already talked about. Because again, I
she
read.
can't help herself.
I can't help myself. As you guys are recommending, it's like, oh, I can. Because what I do is I almost immediately will go on and go to Libby and see if I can get it.
Yeah.
And then I'll look and maybe it's 8 weeks out or maybe it's instant.
Yeah.
And so I read things in really weird orders, but all of a sudden something will come in and I'll see something in my little, library.
Queue,
It's like,
yeah.
where did that come from? And then I'll remember that 8 weeks ago somebody had
Yeah.
recommended it. So anyway, all right. Okay, well, I guess that's it. Any last minute things? I've asked for last minute things the last few minutes.
I think we're good.
Are we all good? All right. All right, you guys. Well, as usual, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for reading with us. And keep recommending the books that you guys are reading in between book
Yes.
club.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us your favorites. So,
Yes. All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
ladies.
thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Right. That was fun.
There was two women.
Sorry, we were on a